Hello everyone, it is Irene Lyon here and welcome to this entire world of nervous system health and healing. And today I have a beautiful story of just this with one of my students from my two courses, the 21-day nervous system tune-up and Smart Body, Smart Mind. Her name is Patti. She's a vocal coach and singing coach extraordinaire. And we connected via actually one of her YouTube comments on one of my videos, just expressing how much her system, her life, her body, her mind, her brain has shifted via these programs that I offer and teach, and how they were very different from other brain retraining programs that she had tried. We get into this in this discussion. We talk about all sorts of things, and it's a fun conversation because we look at the parallel between what she teaches her students in vocal training and singing training compared to the nervous system work. And one of the main factors is education, the importance of us understanding what is going on, and really how when you have all these ingredients, the education, the understanding, the practices, the commitment, the repetition, that is when things really change and stick. Also, if you want to work with her, I have her link to her site near this. She is clearly nervous system and trauma informed if you ever want to dabble or should want to explore your voice and singing. Enjoy this conversation, this talk, and just a quick note, if you are seeing this when I put this out live, it will be near the registration, the upcoming registration of Smart Body, Smart Mind. This is my 12-week online nervous system rewire course that she has taken and raves about. So definitely check that out. And if you're watching this not around that time of registration, as she mentions in our talk, start with the 21-day nervous system tune-up. Thank you everyone for being here and watching. Thank you, of course, Patti, for your time and your commitment and sharing your story. Patti, hello.
Hello, Irene.
I am so excited to talk to you and hear about your journey, not just through Smart Body, Smart Mind, but what you do in your world. I got a chuckle when I watched some of your videos with your students, your singing students, your vocal students. And what I might start with, you had said when we had connected over typing that learning how to rewire and regulate the nervous system can't be done overnight, just like you can't learn how to sing and have the voice that you have overnight.
True.
One question is, can you explain that in terms of singing and how it takes to build up and how that might compare to the nervous system work that you've learned through me?
So, as a voice coach and vocal coach, these are two separate things. Mm-hmm. It's important for me that my student or students do understand how their body creates sound. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that education is the key when it comes to developing strong voice. And it takes years for sure. Yeah. So that if they don't have this information first, that there is this larynx that sits inside of their throat, that inside of the larynx there are vocal folds or vocal cords, but really they are vocal folds, and that we have breath as this engine that creates this vibration that we outside hear as a sound, and that there is this resonance that we refer in voice or singing as chest resonance, head resonance, and so on. So chest voice, head voice. Without all that, they're just going to sing and enjoy it for sure. It's going to be great. But whenever they will stumble upon a problem or challenge, say high notes, as usual, it's always really hard to sing high notes that you feel relaxed and it sounds good and it's not screaming, pushing. So when they have this situation, for example, they have the knowledge and understanding, oh, this could be my larynx going really all the way up and blocking that pharyngeal space in my throat, or I'm pushing too much air and so like my voice cracks and. But without the knowledge and information about all that stuff, they are helpless. And they will go on singing and they will have these problems and they will develop problems and issues with their voice. But they don't have to if they just understand the theory and practice with that awareness, right? Does this make sense?
That makes complete sense.
For me, when I started to listen to the program's material, it was really hard first, it was because I was not in a good place.
Yeah.
So, but I was listening to the theory over and over and kind of trying to understand what's going on here. And in that very moment, it started to make sense because I could connect it to my work as well. I have to understand how my nervous system works, what's happening, why it's happening, so I'm not overwhelmed all the time. So when I feel those things, I'm not going to panic and freak out. I'm just going to think what could be at play in this very moment. So again, the theory and the information you provide was the key for me. And so it takes time, just the same really length of time that when you develop strong voice, because these are muscles that we talk about. Yeah, in our throat. So there is need to practice in a way that you're very aware, okay, this exercise is doing this compression and helps me to bring my vocal folds together. And this exercise is for my breath, and the long exhalation. And now I'm going to combine these two. And this is long before I even sing a song. So we're going to work really on your instrument first, right? And now, that's why for me this is so, yeah, of course. I was doing things and I just didn't know what was going on. Yeah. I was just working from my brain here, and trying hard. And knowing now, okay, this is this and this is that. And I have these tools that you provide, again, audio recordings, materials, that I can use to either soothe myself or to connect back to my body or the orienting and all this stuff. And it's going to take time until all this sits inside of my brain and it becomes habitual and it becomes like my second nature, which is pretty much happening right now after 7 months. Does this answer your question? I might have a little bit.
Oh, it completely answers the question. And it brings me maybe to the next question, which is what was going on in you within your system? As you said, it's been about 7-ish months because you went through the course for the first time this year in the year 2022. What was happening this time last year in your world?
Oh, wow. I had to write things down, Irene, because
Please.
I couldn't remember really.
Yeah.
I have so many improvements that I was like, what was going on? What was it again? What was I feeling? It's crazy. It was just chaos. Really chaos. And total chaos, dysregulation all over the place. And I started, if I may say, maybe a little bit back, 7 years ago, when my perfect storm happened, which was passing of my father's passing, sudden and unexpected, and then it was that shutdown, and then things just poof. I had panic attacks. You know, I never had panic attacks. I had anxiety
Right.
my whole life, but no panic attacks. Panic attacks, and then sensitivities, chemical sensitivities was like, I can smell tires. Wow, that's crazy. I thought it's crazy. I said, this is not real. This cannot be that I can smell everything. I had dust hypersensitivity. I didn't even know that. And it wasn't like I was allergic to dust. My system was like anything that was in the air, it was like I couldn't breathe. Things like that. You know, just overwhelm, panic attacks and overwhelm, and sensitivities to EMFs, to chemicals. Yes, like I mentioned, food, allergies, my histamine gone crazy, skin rashes, you know, all that. And I couldn't leave the house. And that time, I was still performing 5 hours on stage with the big band I was in just before COVID. And I was just, you know, I was taking some calming pills, some herbal pills, and had some Jägermeister, which was my medicine just to just survive, to calm down. It's hard because, you know, you have to dance and sing and entertain people. And in between, I was just like, you guys, it's fine. You're going to be okay. You know, just breathe. Just breathe. This one. And then COVID came, and I was kind of, it's, yeah, maybe sad to say, but I was happy that I could stay home.
Yeah.
I mean, it was horrible for us to have this situation, but I was like,
I think that happens to a lot of people.
yeah, I couldn't do it. One more gig and I would die. That's how I felt. Yeah. And so that was 2020, so getting closer to this year. I did a lot of brain rewiring programs. A lot. Excuse me. Many that are very well known, let's say. And none of this was really helping me, like I've mentioned in the comment. This 2021, I was here and I had to take care of my nephew because my sister went for vacation 3 weeks, and I was living here because we live more south.
Yeah.
And I took care of 4 dogs, my nephew, and I was in this crazy overwhelmed state. You know, I couldn't work. Every lesson was like, after the lesson, I would collapse.
And just to be clear, sorry to pause you, it was the brain rewiring lessons that you were doing.
No, my work.
Your work. Why don't you just clarify? Your coaching, your vocal coaching. Got it.
So I couldn't. I had to quit my other job when I was working in private music school, and I saw 20 people a day. You know, and I was like in constant state of panic. You know, so it was fun. But you know how you say it was like calm outside and chaos from the inside. But I just said, I can't quit my job. Like, this is all I have. And I love it. And I will do it. But yeah, I couldn't. So, but it was okay. I decided to continue teaching at home in my private studio. So that's fine. So I was working online here in this time when I was taking care of my nephew. And after a lesson, it was pretty much going to bed, and that's it. Cook some food for him. My case was, like I said, it's pretty much overwhelm, a lot of sensations that it's really hard to describe.
Yeah.
And I definitely was not in my body, or the way I experienced my body was just, like I was living inside of a twister and just surviving. That's where I was. And I was doing also, yes, I was doing one other brain retraining program. I tried at least. But I think after a month or 2 months of doing it, I felt like which is great. It's a great program, but it was too much. I felt this is all too much. I have to stop it all. Like,
right.
I can't meditate anymore. I did meditations, if I can mention Joe Dispenza here. 6-7 months of this work, 2 years or 3 years of brain retraining programs, different stuff, and nothing was working really the way I thought it should, because I was doing the work. I was really working hard.
I believe
to
you.
Get that.
Yeah.
So it was January. I decided to stop this brain retraining program because the information was just too many things, and I said it just doesn't resonate with me anymore. And then I think in February I saw you on Instagram. I was just scrolling and I saw Irene, my future guru. And yeah, I think I just clicked on a commercial, 21-day tune-up, and the price was fair. I thought I could afford it, and I thought let's see, let's watch a couple of her videos. And there was something about you, and I know what it is now, that I kept listening, and I would start yawning in a good way. Like, and I felt like my body was, hey, we like this girl. You gotta do this stuff. And yes, it was your voice, your tone, the pace, and the melodics, the dynamics, everything that actually my system picked up as safe. And that is something I maybe experienced 2 or 3 times in my life, that I met a person that I actually felt safe around, like really bodily, that I would sit next to, and I felt, whoa, this person, I feel good around this person, and he or she really does care about what I think or how I feel. And so I did 21-day tune-up, and I had to go really slow. And of course, as a type A person, perfectionist, I did what all of us, I think, want to do: go fast, get results, push through.
Yeah.
And that just didn't work. I think I did like 5 days, 6 days. And then I felt, okay, this is cool. I had some little shifts, but then I felt like, more tired. And I've learned from you there in this course something like follow your impulse. So, my impulses were coming mostly from my head, because it's a very creative mind here we're talking about. So, but a lot of that was like, things to do. I have to do this. I got to do this. Blah, blah. And simple things like, okay, I'm hungry. I have to eat. I'm thirsty. I have to drink. No matter what. That was beautiful. Just that. Follow your impulse. And the exercise containment was very important for me. I did, and I still do a lot of that. Just, okay, here I am. This is my body, and I love about this that I didn't have to do anything like on my mind, mental level, because that I was burned out. I couldn't
Yeah.
think any more positive thoughts. I
No.
couldn't listen to any more, even one more affirmation. Um, and I just was so relieved that all I have to do is just reconnect, try to go back, feel my
Mm-hmm.
body, lay down on the floor, roll my head, simple things. It was just like I was on vacation. Someone finally tells me I don't have to do 1 hour of brain retraining. And if I don't do 1 hour, it's not going to work, or keep being happy, uplift your mood when you feel like you're dying. I was really frustrated, because I
Yeah.
did all those things and they just didn't work.
Yeah.
So I think I flew here a bit. Would you like to?
Yeah. The idea that I believe is starting to become more old school is like what you said, this positive thinking, everything is great. I understand the theory behind it, and yet, as you've learned through the education of the nervous system, when the underlying physiology is screaming, as you said, like it was a twister, great analogy, by the way, you can try to think positive all you want, but that internal chaos and the traumas and the survival stress, it's just going to keep showing up.
That's it. And that's why it didn't work for me. And I think, and I know some people who
Mm-hmm.
did this and it didn't
Yep.
work for them. And what I really feel sorry about is they continue doing it. And I'm like, I get it because
Mm-hmm.
you've given it so much time and energy, and now it's this attachment. I'm not gonna give up now. It's
Yeah.
been 2 years,
Yeah.
and I get that. And I'm, I just want to scream and shout, really, or sing, probably write a song about.
Yeah.
Just still do your stuff, all right, but please get the knowledge and education about nervous system, about your body. Just this is fundamental.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I would say to my students, this stuff. We will not just sing song over and over. We are going to make you understand what's happening. You're going to touch, your throat and
Yeah.
feel, oh, larynx up, larynx down. And, we're going to work with your jaw because we need that place and opening. Yeah. We're going to
Mm.
work with your tongue because when it goes back, it blocks stuff. And they are like really having also fun learning this. So they're like,
Mm-hmm.
ah, yeah, this makes sense. And I love this sentence. And that's when I know they got it. This makes sense.
Yeah.
And they can't do it. Yeah. So this is this learning process. I have students with me, let's say, who are 3 years. And after 3 years of knowledge, practice, repetition, now it's really funny. We would talk sometimes and they are like, you know what, Patty? I think you've told me that like 1,000 times, but now I get it.
Uh-huh.
And or they say like, why didn't you tell me this before? I'm like, I did, but you were not able yet. Your brain
Yeah.
could, there was this network that is being built, and just give it a time. And now they're like, they still can't really do it,
Yeah.
but they're just one step closer.
Yeah.
And what is beautiful about this work, your work, and the way I also see my students learning is that they're okay, that they are not there yet.
Yes.
And this is a big thing because this acceptance, feeling all this stuff is super uncomfortable and I suffer. I get that. But you already know, but this is the right thing. I know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing, I know why I'm doing, and I just have to keep going. Just keep going. Not pushing, not being hard on yourself, not trying to prove anything, but keep coming back to this. But you have to understand why's and what's first. This is how I see it. So positive thinking, all fine, great. I think for some people who are more regulated, great practice. But I still do agree with you. I would still do the course and really get into this work, because the very thing you said in this program for me was this bomb, like aha moment. The brain is the end organ.
Yes.
You know, I was torturing my brain for years. And it used to be a really great brain. And then I've learned my limbic system is impaired, whatever that means, you know. I mean, yes, sure. And I was like, neuroplasticity and this and books. Whew. I love to learn, but I just felt it's okay. My brain is messed up right now. That's how I thought. Something's wrong with my brain. It's just my brain is not working. It was working. It's not working. So I have to now rewire every thought. I have to now reframe every thought I have. It's never ending. And I remember I was a very positive, very happy, vibrant person before my perfect storm. But again, learning about trauma, different types of trauma, right? This shock trauma, chronic stress, infections, all the stuff I had, Irene, I was not allowed to cry. I was, I have ACE score pretty high.
Yeah.
Pretty high. And so it was not enough to just think positive thoughts or repeat them or write them down, and I did all of it. I recorded my own affirmations with my, very soothing voice. And I did a lot, and I was just getting better, a little bit better, and then it was like this big crash, and I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
So
I like the parallels between learning singing, vocal, technique, all the ways that you would call it. I'm not an expert, but when you mentioned the students, they get it when they say, "Oh, I understand," but they're not there yet. I cannot stress enough to all those watching and listening how important that is. And I wonder, because of your knowledge in that profession, which is your profession, that gave you an upper hand when you went into the 21-day tune-up and then Smart Body, Smart Mind, because you already had experience with that teaching others. And I say that as a statement, but also because I do know that many of your peers in the course, they stop and they don't keep going, even though it all makes sense, but they're not getting those miracle results immediately. How would you, just curious your thoughts on that and how you would speak to someone, even when maybe one of your peers who's listening to this right now, who's given up because there hasn't been that immediate shift. What would you say in your wisdom, Patti?
So I'm lucky. I would say none of my students ever gave up on this work, but it's a different thing,
Sure.
It's just more something like fun, and they are not suffering. So, but when they have those days, and they do, they come to me and they're confused. There are those neuroplastic moments, where all of a sudden nothing makes sense. I feel like, I think I'm going backwards. It's like,
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on, but it's like, I just don't know. And this is this to know, well, give it a bit of time. This is actually a good thing. There are things happening, give it a rest, do something else. But what I say, or when they have this moment, we do talk about, and they have this negativity, the bias, that I don't think I should be singing. This is not for me, and I don't see any progress. And I first want to acknowledge that this is how you feel. It's frustrating, right? It's like you practice, you did stuff, and it's not working the way you like to, right? Yeah, it's really annoying. And in these moments, as a coach, of course, you have to bring all the good stuff too.
Yeah.
And say, maybe I see where you're at, and you're pretty much in that space that is not really moving you forward. But if you trust me a bit, can I say what I've noticed have changed for you over the last 6 months? And, you can do this one-on-one, and then they're listening, and they're like, oh, yeah, right, true. But.
Yeah, there's always a little...
There's always but.
Yep.
But I always ask them, why do you want to sing? Why do you do this? Is it to become famous or impress others? What's the rush? And it's very interesting because I've been asking those questions to myself about my health. What's the rush, Patti? And my prefrontal would say, well, lots of things to do,
Yeah.
And you have all those potentials and talents, and they're sitting on the shelf and getting, dusty, and you should be a better wife for your husband. People need you. I mean, a lot of people pleasing stuff here happening. And what's the rush? Why does it have to happen tomorrow? And then I start to think it doesn't. It doesn't have to be tomorrow or after tomorrow, as long as I'm moving forward.
Yes.
And once you start this work, this nervous system healing, when you start this, is miracles happen alone, and it's organic. I think you know what I'm thinking about. You have moments, maybe you don't have great shifts and all the symptoms disappear magically. Maybe this doesn't happen for you. It didn't happen for me. I just had improvements here and there, things that stick and stayed. And then my adult personality, my 43 years old person, was like, hey, I'm back. That was cool. And I started to plan things, and I caught myself thinking, oh, I want to do something, actually. And it's not about health. And this is all because I was giving this time to my body, to myself, like I never did before. Nobody taught me that. And we have this trauma stored for years and years. But also we have systems that got wired to do things the way it's doing, right? It's not doing it for fun, or I know it feels like it wants to punish you sometimes when you experience uncomfortable symptoms and sensations. It feels like you have this little troll, I don't know, creature in your brain. It's like, I'm gonna give it to her. That's how it feels. But really what happens is if I grown up in this environment and I had to shut down over and over, it's now on autopilot, right? Autopilot, and that's what it knows how to do. Just like my singers, I said, don't be angry about your larynx rising. You've been singing or doing things with your voice for years, since you were born. You copied, just like we copied ventral vagus from our parents. We copy sounds and voices of our parents too. Right? So don't be angry with any of it. It's really just trying to help you, because it only knows how to do this high note in that way. It's going to be uncomfortable, but it doesn't know any better. And now you know better, and you can guided to come down and relax, because really larynx is really important in singing. This is why I keep
I
talking
want
about
to learn
larynx.
more now. We might need to do a session.
It's interesting, yeah,
Yeah.
and lots of fun with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that kind of and then you kind of, your larynx goes up, your pitch goes up, and
Uh-huh.
there's this tension in your throat. You know, when people scream or sing loud, but not in the right way. Let's say
Right.
not in a relaxed way.
Yeah.
So I always, yes, like you say, I compare a lot, but again, I have that network in my brain for sure, and maybe that's why 7 months was for me now this quick. Oh, we're doing pretty much the same here, you know, because of the knowledge I have.
Yeah.
But still, I've come to understand like this has been in my body since birth,
Yeah.
and it's going to take another some years to rewire that and build connection with the system, and that it trusts you, and that you trust yourself that this is the right thing, because all those things are very new, you know, the exercises.
Hmm.
And at the beginning for me it was also very challenging. I could not focus. My
Yeah.
mind was the
Yeah.
twist there here again. I had real trouble even to look at one point in space. My eyes would just go like that.
Hmm.
So I couldn't really focus.
Hmm.
I couldn't read anymore. So just that within, let's see, 3 months for me, that I noticed, oh, I can move from object to object slowly.
Nice.
This was, it's working.
Uh-huh. And
It's working.
it's working. For those that aren't aware of what we're talking about, because we're like psychically know exactly what we're talking about. This is one of the very first practices is learning how to orient. And there's two types. One is defensive orienting, which we have when we need it, when there's
Yeah.
a real threat, or we defensively orient because it's been unsafe in our environment since, as you said, birth. And I have a hunch maybe before you were born in your parental world and your home country and all that kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? And then as you learn, as you engage with the environment, as you learn the containment, and you begin to come online with what we would call exploratory orienting, that is
Oh,
soft and easy and da 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 and chill, and when it changes, I'm glad you mentioned it. You do notice the difference between, like you said, 3 months to now. It's like this is possible, and it's like a little firework goes off because that's those are the wires reconnecting.
exactly. I, and you know, and it's not like, again, I compare it also to the stuff I did before.
Hmm.
And even though, because you mentioned, maybe because I have this knowledge that I have and I'm a coach myself, blah, 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 maybe that is. But I'm like, I'm not resonating so much with this
Mm.
because, again, if I did everything around my brain to brain, thought to thought, it was not working, you
Mm.
know. And all my system needed was come home. Come home, Patty. Come home.
Yeah.
Um, and still, I did not have these wires because I always did things with my body. You know, I was adrenaline freak, extreme sports, water sports. I'm a martial artist. I was teaching, coaching kung fu. You know, I did some stuff.
Cool.
And I was really using my body in a great way, and it was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
But um, I had no knowledge about the things that are coming up and represent themselves in my mind, my psyche, in my brain's activity were coming from my body.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very important for me to understand. Like simple thing like if I hold my head a little bit lower, I have a different sense and sensation of myself and my body, and it does trigger something. Whereas where I would lift my head up, simple little things. And that gave also birth, your work gave birth to a lot of new things I do with my students. But we do a lot with social engagement, you know, the ventral vagal, the vagus nerve, which they don't know, but I sometimes mention those things and they're like, what? What are you talking about? Vegas thing. So, like, just by lifting your eyebrows, it changes your state. And it's pretty much 99.9. I checked into some positive energy and attitude, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this flat, no expression face is another state, you know, of being. And so it's actually an adventure once you're in it. If you survive this 3 to 6 months, I think, with yourself and saying, it's possible, let me just give it a try. It's totally different. It's going to be slower and different from the things you might have done before. But just give it this 6 months. Allow your brain to work around this and get those neurons there. And create a little map. And then you start to see and say, wow. It's just wow after wow after wow. And it's maybe not like your symptoms are gone again, I repeat myself, or big shifts, but on a like emotional, psychological level, at least it was for me, there are huge shifts. Sometimes I had these moments like, who am I?
Right.
And I remember you mentioning this in one of the videos, I think. There's like, I don't even know who I am anymore. Your identity
changes,
yeah. Of course, you're always there. You're conscious and the observer. But yes, things are really shifting and changing. And I love about this work that it's really, repetition is always the key in everything we do. To learn something, you just got to repeat this.
Yep.
There is no way around it. And if my students complain, like you asked before, and they are having those bad days and me crying, I would say, okay, let's be honest. Like, how much time did you dedicate to this?
Right.
And I wouldn't say you have to practice every day. I wouldn't say that. I said practice if you want every day. Yeah. But when you feel your voice is cracking, you feel tired, and you don't have like your mind together with your practice, that tells you need to rest and give it a break. And then go back to it maybe day after. But really, a lot of people just have that, today, Patti, I want a belt. I want to sing like you. And I'm like, dude, I've been doing this for a long time. Really long time. And you practice half an hour once a week, you know?
Yeah.
That is that. But again, it's always, it depends on the person.
Yeah. It's lovely. You've done good work, and you will continue to do. I know you will. Is there anything that you haven't shared that you would like to share? In reference, obviously, to this work and those who are so new to this. And often, Patti, the question we get a lot is, how do I know this will work for me? It seems like she, i.e. you, is so put together and speaking so eloquently, and you are, because you've done the education, so you know how to use the ventral vagal, and like you've learned these terms.
Totally. I didn't have these words before. I didn't know them. Yeah. I speak now to people, they look at me like, what are you talking about? I'm activated. I'm a bit activated. I'm sorry. What? You are what? Doesn't matter. I just need to orient. What? It's fun, it's
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
but yes, I do love to learn. So I do have this language now. I think like all the other people that you interviewed before and from your program, we all like have the thing. We just
Yeah.
talk,
Yeah.
the word. Um, and I love it. I just love that the capacity. I just wanted to print for this interview T-shirt with building capacity, but I just didn't find any. I have to just make my own. Really, building capacity, a word that was completely not familiar. Now is my word. The word of the day is: do I have the capacity? And or I feel no, I don't have enough capacity for this, and I'm gonna skip this, and it's fine. Yeah. So what I would say, what I want to share, I really thought about it. I'm very passionate, as you see, especially when I'm coaching. There's a lot of energy involved, and I love to share knowledge. And when I found you, and I really do want to mention Seth, because he's a great guy, and he's doing a fabulous job on Q&As.
Oh, yeah.
And because I am more wired towards men, meaning I had less trauma around men, and my safe person was my father, that you have a guy in your program, and fun guy and great guy.
He's a good guy. He's my husband, for those that don't know. He teaches
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
And he's a musician,
Yes.
all that. That's just another plus here, just that change between female and male energies. So I said I'm passionate and I want to share knowledge. And before this interview, I kept saying to my husband, I just want to say to all the people who are going to watch this interview, two things, if I may. So for those who already have a program and they did whatever program they're doing and they're happy with, but they feel something's missing. Yes, something's missing. Something is missing. And it's your gut or higher self or whatever you like to call it telling you that something is missing. And I think, and I'm pretty sure it's that information about nervous system and your program and all the exercises and everything about it, which is perfect. It's just perfect. That's what I'm saying. So keep doing what you're doing, and if that's what you want to keep, but get at least 21-day tune-up.
Yes.
Just to get a taste. And just be open-minded to see this is going to be completely different. There is nothing like this out there. Another thing, there is nothing out there like this because of you, Irene, and Seth, because there are no other people like you out there.
True.
Regulated, honest, giving and caring. There is nothing like that. And just your tone is healing. Your way of talking is therapy already. Just listening to those recordings. It is. As I know about this sound qualities and in relation to also nervous system. But now for the other part, people who don't have any program yet, haven't done anything, but struggle with something. Again, if you're watching this video, that means this is your cue. I would say this is coming from me, like for myself. I watched, I felt, and I did it. And I'm forever grateful that I did this. And for maybe if you're thinking, to buy a new sofa or get a new haircut or get a tattoo, I would say don't. Just I can't say that enough. I know it's a
Yeah.
lot, but I know what knowledge is. And as I used to say in martial arts, the best self defense is self knowledge. For me, it's still and always will be education, knowledge, then practice,
Yeah.
commitment, staying. And if you struggle, there are coaches. I had a coach, Irene.
Mm-hmm.
I think in around fourth, fifth month in,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I felt I need support.
Yeah.
But I had informations, and when we were working with her, which she's just amazing. And if anyone wants to know after, you can write me and I will give the
We
name.
can, yeah, we can link things too.
Right. She's one of your coaches from the program.
Perfect. Yeah.
And I had the knowledge, and yet still she would do with me things I already knew about,
Mm-hmm.
but it was yet another information how I can implement that stuff.
Yeah.
And it was very important that I have her on board, and in my team, my tools also, that I feel, okay, this is getting a little bit
Mm-hmm.
tricky here.
Mm-hmm.
I can call my coach and we talk about, and she's just giving me some things that I need. And it's a great also just to support, to know someone is there and understands you. So I want everyone to know your work, Irene. I want children to
Mm-hmm.
learn this before they speak, nonverbal. So that for that we need teachers,
Parents.
parents, doctors, dentists to know about this. If I only had time to tell you what happened in the dentist's office,
That's another story for another
that's
day.
another story. But
Yeah.
everyone needs to know this. I do not. I'm going to finish with this.
Yeah.
In my opinion, your course is not a course to consider. It's a course to do and must have course. This is how I see it. Super grateful, forever grateful. I wanted to hang your picture and Seth, and like I wrote, put candles and burn candles and flowers,
Oh,
sing some songs. I won't because I'm a grown up person.
thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you so much. You can do that, but you don't have to. I don't want to become the true guru that a lot of people are looking for, but that because you're right, once the education is within you and you have practice and you might need an extra support person and that's so good. I'm glad you have that. A lot of the work starts to take on its own life.
Yeah. So,
And my desire is to sort of be like the enzyme or the catalyst that comes in, gets the equation rolling, and then I exit.
that's it. That's what I want from my students.
Yes.
I want them to be stuck with me for the rest of my life. And I
Exactly.
love them. I love them,
Yeah.
but they're kids. They're like
Yeah.
my children. I don't have children on my
Yeah.
own, but they're all my children. And I want them to go and
Mm-hmm.
do it alone, so they can be independent and
Yes.
thrive.
Yes. Thank you, Patti.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was a
You're
pleasure.
welcome.